in the Mormon church, from the age of about 12, not about 12, from the ages of 12 to about 17 or 18, you're considered youth. You're part of the church youth. And so you attend youth activities and such. Which, sometimes they're fun, sometimes they're all churchy and religious and shit. But sometimes they're fun. But part of that is every year there's the youth camps where you go camping for a week with youths from all over the country, all over the south of the country in terms of where I was. You go to a place, all camp out in a field, you bring your tents and your gear and your shit, and it's a pretty good time. It's genuinely, I have genuinely good memories, all things considered, it being church-based and shit. I do have actually good memories of fun times from some of these camps. But prior to being that age, before I was 12, at least, I think when I was around 10, both of my older brothers were in the youth program and they'd go on these camps every year. So I had at least 2 years where both brothers were going on the camps, where I'd just be at home alone. My mum obviously would be home, but effectively I was home alone. It was great. And during these times, my mum would give me treats and things because, she's got, at least for a week, there's 2 less mouths to feed. She's got at least a little bit of money spare, so she could afford to buy me little chocolates and things, little tasty little treats because I'm nice and I'm the kind of young lad you want to give treats to. So one year she went. I wasn't expecting anything, but she went shopping and she came home and she had 2 cartons of flavoured milk, like decent sized cartons. I think maybe like a litre each, a couple of pints or something thereabouts. One of strawberry milk, and one chocolate milk. And she said, "These are for you. These are yours to have. Just to have yummy, tasty." Strawberry and chocolate milk, all to myself. I didn't have to share with my brothers or anyone else. They were all mine, all mine, and it was bliss to start with. But it wasn't always bliss because the day she brought them home, I cracked open the chocolate one, I think, first, and I started drinking it. And I drank all of it, and in a very short space of time, I drank a litre, I guess, probably about a litre of chocolate milk. And then later on that day, I was scheduled to go to my friend's house to have a sleepover, which was lovely. I think it was the weekend, and I was going to go sleep over at my friend's house. However, shortly after drinking an entire litre of chocolate milk at the age of 10, I had to phone my friend and tell him I couldn't go to his house for a sleepover that weekend because I didn't tell him this. I just said I'm unwell. But the truth of the matter was I was diarrhea shitting uncontrollably. Well, not uncontrollably, but almost uncontrollably, squirting liquid shit out of my anus, out of my 10-year-old anus, into the toilet. Luckily, I managed to not get it everywhere. But evidently, especially at the age of 10, if you drink very quickly, if you drink a litre of chocolate milk, I guess it basically passes through you and comes out just as chocolate milk, but also smelling of shit. It gives you the runs, the squits, The old diarrhea. And so I learned my lesson that day. Not to do that again. I just thought that was funny. That's the end of the story. Is I drank too much chocolate milk in too short space of time. I got diarrhea, and so I couldn't go to my friend's house. And that was very sad. I had diarrhea before then, but I think I was too young to really get it. Not to get it, to understand. But at 10 years old, I sort of knew what was up. I knew that I was squirting diarrhea out of my ass, making a smell. Luckily not making a mess, but making it, it fucking stank. It was diarrhea. Yeah, that's the end of that chapter. That's not relevant to anything whatsoever. I just thought it was funny. I don't think I'd mentioned that story before on the podcast, but I'd noted it down somewhere to talk about just because I thought it was funny. That's really just to fill in a gap, because to distract you all from the fact that this is yet another re-recording of the podcast, because yet again it happened where I recorded a podcast and it was shit, so I felt the need to re-record it. I'll probably put in the thumbnail something monkeys tier list, or ranking monkeys, best monkeys, worst monkeys, monkey see, monkey do, monkey pee, monkey poo. So it was a whole thing, and I did a full episode. I spoke a little bit about apes and monkeys in art, in history, medieval art, use of and representation of apes and monkeys in medieval art and such. And then I did a whole thing of like best monkeys, worst monkeys, and apes also. And I did sort of express, that I do know the difference between monkeys and apes, though it was not necessary for me to explain what that was, because I didn't need to prove that I knew what the difference between monkeys and apes was. I just made it clear that I did know what the difference between monkeys and apes was. And I thought it was good. I thought it was all cool and good. I thought it was a good episode. Until I went to edit it. And even just the intro, and then just as I was doing like the tier list or the ranking or whatever, it all just felt and sounded so horrible. That monkey's face is shit. Its mouth's too close to its nose. It felt really forced, was the issue. I think it was a moment where it really felt like I was making content. And, all of this, I'm making content. But it really felt like I was, like, producing content. Like the whole, trying to put out like a tier list or whatever, because that's a thing people do. It's the thing YouTubers do or whatever, isn't it? When they can't think of anything else, they go, I'll just do a tier list, that'll do. That's a bit of content for the algorithm. That'll keep my engagement up for a little bit. I'll just do a tier list of all the best fucking fast food places in the area. That'll keep people happy. And that's what it felt like as I was, not as I was doing the video, but as I was editing it, watching it back. Straight away, I was just like, ugh, fucking shut up. And I express that I'm sure many people feel that way in general. They listen to me, or maybe they don't listen, they just hear me for a bit and go, ugh, shut up. And, I understand, I get it. But this was a particularly ugh moment. And I just wasn't happy with it at all. And I'll be fully honest, full transparency, I do endeavour to keep my self-given title of most honest person on this platform, if not online completely, all together. In general, that's how I've been feeling a lot lately with regards to like art and commissions and podcasts. Basically everything I'm doing, it's been feeling a lot lately like I'm producing content rather than making art, which is almost unavoidable. It just sort of, because it is what it is. But for the most part, I'm sort of able to look past the fact that I'm generating content and at least somewhat enjoy the creative process and just make shit and put it out there. But like I say, lately it really has felt like I'm, I don't know, maybe not going through the motions, but it feels forced. It very, very much feels forced, and I dislike listening to it somewhat. I think if I think about it, I dislike doing it. I think in the moment maybe I don't think about it necessarily, but certainly afterwards I become only too aware of how it sounds and how it feels, and I don't like it. And in general, I've not been feeling great. We could let's have a chat. Let's have a mental health check-in chat. Just for the record, I will do the monkeys tier list. I'll at least go through it just so it's a thing, that's why I'll put it in the thumbnail, because I will do. I just won't make as big a deal of it as I initially planned to. There's not really much to say with regards to the mental health, but I have been looking into phone numbers and addresses of crisis centres. Oh, that was a good one. That's basically where I'm at currently. I had a really sort of like earlier this month, I had a really good week or so, week and a half, where I was just on it and I was almost enjoying life, which is rare for me. And there's been some there's good days and bad days. But overall, the last sort of month-ish or so has been very... I feel myself falling into patterns that are not necessarily great. And those patterns, it's usually, ways of thinking about what I'm doing, ways of thinking about myself, not caring for myself physically, emotionally and otherwise. Spending too much time with porn. Sometimes I can balance it out all right, but sometimes it overtakes me, and I just spend fucking all day, sometimes literally all day, just looking at porn, collecting porn, making folders of little segments of collections of porn for use later on, and then it's a whole thing. I just, that's just how I'm feeling at the moment. And I think that's maybe the stuff I'm making, maybe the podcast I scrapped that I'm now re-recording, maybe it was good. Maybe it's just because of how I'm currently feeling. Maybe that sort of tainted my feelings towards the podcast I'd recorded. Maybe everything I'm doing is fine. It's just I'm just not feeling it right now. And these it happens. It ebbs and flows, much like the oceans. Because, like you say, there's like you say, like we say, like everyone says, there's good days and bad days. However cliche that is, it is cliche for a reason, because there are good days and bad days. And so I know, I'll get out of this slump, I guess you could call it. But for now, I'm in this slump, and I don't like it. And I'm, like I say, when I mentioned crisis centres, like places where I might be able to go and talk to people if I'm feeling in crisis. Because, feeling like I might be in crisis. I don't want to, worry anyone. This isn't a cry for help or anything. I'm just expressing how I'm currently feeling. That's all it is. That's all it is. During the podcast, the previously made podcast that I binned, I looked through a bunch of books that had monkeys in them, comics and stuff. Some Bisley comics that had gorillas in them. That Jamie Hewlett art book, because it's gorillas in that, because he designed the gorillas. And the Monkey Journey to the West thing he did. Just a bunch of shit, bunch of books, bunch of monkeys in the book, because it was all monkey themed. That's the whole. It was all monkeys and apes, monkeys and apes. I use the words interchangeably. I do know the differences between monkeys and apes. It's just monkey is a funny word, and so I use the word monkey whenever I'm talking about monkeys and apes. One of the books I looked at was this one, purely because there's one page by one artist with one picture. Dran, there he is. There you go. There's that one. Look, it's a monkey. The artist Dran. I really fucking love his art. I don't think he's on like social media or anything. I looked a few times. I don't recall being able to find him. Certainly not on Instagram, which is fine. That's it's almost a good thing. Just because you're an artist doesn't mean you have to be on Instagram. It's just I really like his work and I'd like to see more of it and more regularly. And social media, Instagram, etc. is good for that, because artists who use it typically will post stuff somewhat regularly, so I get to see art by artists I like somewhat regularly. That's the joy of it all. But Dran doesn't seem to be into that, which is totally fine. Respect that. I get it. I don't want to have to use social media, but I'm part of the machine. Anyway, this is one of his. Look, is the monkey. I know it's not a monkey, but the monkey in the cage, and he's drawing pictures, but all of the pictures he draws in his colourful crayons, they all got all the people looking at him, but they all got bars in front of them, because that's how he sees the world, from inside his cage, his prison. But then it looks like, in the drawings, it looks like they're behind bars. Maybe these are the apes, and they're in their prison, in their cage. So he's even got a banana, so it's like he's the ape. And humans are a kind of ape. They just talk more. They don't fucking shut up. They're opinionated. And they do Nazi salutes like fucking idiots. Monkeys in art. That was the thing. Monkeys in art. There's a monkey. There's a 3-panel comic that's been shared as like a meme quite a lot recently of a gorilla painting pictures, and in the next panel there's like a visitor to the zoo or whatever going, oh, that's cute, and then in the third panel the gorilla's like, it's dark at night time or whatever. I think he's like smoking a cigarette, looking really depressed, because dumb people look at his art and go, no, it's cute, not understanding he's an artist. And that's like that kind of, or something. This is Street Sketchbooks Journeys. Street Sketchbook Journeys. This is the book 2. There was a first one called Street Sketchbook, which is a bunch of sketchbooks from street artists, and it's really, really good. And this is the second book, so I figured I'd just look through. I really like that blue. I don't know if it looks kind of royal blue on camera, I think, but IRL it looks fairly cobalt bluish, which I really, really like. It's a really pleasant blue. I might hit my mic a lot because I've got the camera closer, so I like doing this. So I apologise if I hit the microphone or whatever. Everyone loves a sketchbook. Sketchbook tours are like some of the best videos in terms of like numbers. Some of my most viewed videos are my sketchbook tours. And there is something cool about seeing sketchbooks by people. I like looking at artists' sketchbooks. Especially because, a lot of artists, the work you see is not always, but often like finished, polished art. But it's nice to see what that person creates just in a sketchbook. If they're just sitting doodling or whatever, it gives you like an insight into their mind, into their working methods, into how they process thoughts into images, and see them draw penises and shit. I don't know, whatever. I think I prefer the first book of this to this book. I feel like there was a lot more art that I liked, artists that I liked even in the first book. But this one has quite a few pages of Dran, who I just showed, whose art I like and whose art is not necessarily easy to find. He has self-published a bunch of books, but at least when I first became aware of him and his books, they were quite expensive and not easy to get hold of, so I don't have any, which is sad. There's some cool art. It's all art. All art is, well, not all art is cool art, but most art is cool art, even if it's bad. It's the fact that it exists is a good thing. And there's some really fun drawings. Look at all the little bunnies. But yeah, a lot of it's just sort of like, cool, very sort of stylized, and But then I guess that's the point, isn't it? If it was all just like comic book art, then what's the point? You may as well just look at comic book art. So it's good to see, like, this isn't the sort of stuff I'm typically into seeing. I don't, it's kind of cool. It's probably fun to draw. I draw abstract shapes now and then in the corners of my pages. I like drawing boxes within boxes within boxes, all overlapping and shit. And that reminds me of these, and these remind me of that. Like phone doodles, the shit you do when you're busy doing something else, but you're just sitting doodling while you do something else. Just shapes and lines. I like cats. Cats are great. Almost as good as monkeys. I really, really like cats. Cats are not the best, but they're fucking good. Cats are just amazing. But monkeys are even better. So I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And I did say it in the previously recorded podcast that I got rid of. Still to this day, and still in the future, an aim of mine, or something I hope and dream for, is that I can become big and popular and famous enough through Instagram or YouTube or whatever, that I make enough money that I can pay to have monkeys in videos. Every video I make will have monkeys in it, because I'll call up like as local as possible a monkey shelter or sanctuary, or preservation place, conservation place, whatever, somewhere that houses monkeys, and I'll say, listen, I am an artist. I do art. I draw. I paint. I will have a video series, a video podcast series, and I love monkeys. So I'd love to make a donation to your conservation efforts. Here, have a load of money. Is there a possibility you could bring some monkeys over to hang out for a day? And they'd say, why, yes, of course. And, they'd have their handler with them, and we'd make sure they're safe. I'd do my best to keep my studio space, as ape-friendly as possible. And then I could just have monkeys in my home. And that would be amazing. That would just be fun to do. It'd be fun to play around with monkeys and apes for a day, and maybe regularly, weekly, monthly, I don't know, whenever I can. Look, death by electrocution with the lightning bolt, and then he died by literally that lightning bolt. Oh my god, it's funny. I know I bang on and on about how shit people get whenever they get a small amount of money. Not if small, if they get a lot of money, they become just shit, because they're all boring people. Because the people who get rich usually are people who want to get rich, and anyone who wants to get rich is pretty much a cunt and is boring and has no genuine creativity, because they don't care about creating, they care about getting rich. So most of the time when people get rich, they're the most loathsome, boring, uncreative people. So when they have that money, the only things they do with it are the most boring, loathsome, uncreative things. Every fucking YouTuber, even the artists, they get big, they get popular, they start getting money, they move to LA or somewhere, they get a huge place, huge studio, nice and clean, soundproofing shit on the walls, neon lights, shelves full of fucking merchandise and toys and collectible shit from films, and rare, expensive things that they buy just because they have money. So what the fuck else are they going to do? They have their name in a neon sign. They have all their YouTube play button plaques on the walls. And the content just gets worse and worse, because now they are literally producing content to keep the money coming in, because once you get rich, you have to keep being rich. It's not enough to get money and then have it and then spend it. You have to keep the money coming in constantly. And they're just the most boring. Why don't they all have monkeys in their videos? Why aren't they all giving shitloads of money to ape places, ape homes, and then having monkeys in their video? I'd love to watch YouTube artists or YouTubers having monkeys in their videos, making just a normal video. For me, it would just be a podcast like I normally do. I'd probably have the camera zoomed out so you could see more of the desk, because then you could see a little monkey climbing around on me and on shit. And I could draw and paint or whatever, and then get the monkey to draw and paint. That'd be fucking cool. Like, how much more fun would that be if people did that shit? And I know you can do that shit because there's been like TV shows and radio shows where they've had like monkey handlers come in with a monkey and they talk about a charity work thing they're doing with monkeys or chimpanzees or something. Because monkeys can, in a way, be hired. Films and TV shows use them. They put them on screen and they have like a handler or a trainer or whatever on set to make sure the monkey's safe and being treated well and whatever. Like, that's a thing you can do. You can pay to have monkeys around for a bit. So why does nobody do? Why isn't everyone who can afford to have monkeys, why aren't they all having monkeys? It's absurd to me that if you have the ability, like feeding the homeless, feeding kids whose parents, whose families are struggling to keep living, feeding those kids, clothing those kids is important. Helping the unhoused is important. Helping everyone, raising minimum wage, defunding the police, setting fire to Nazis. These are important things, but more people need to have monkeys in their videos. Cats, everyone has cats in their videos. The amount of streamers, YouTubers, artists, whatever, that are making videos and then they go, oh look, Tubbins is here, and they pick up Tubbins the cat and go, look, say hello Tubbins, and Tubbins goes meow, and then Tubbins fucks off because he's being exploited without fair compensation. So he's off to fight his class war, and good for Tubbins the cat. So everyone, every boring fucker has a cat and therefore can have a cat in their video. Cats are great. Octopuses and squids are my like top favourite animal. I'd love to have videos featuring octopuses and squids. Like if I was just drawing and then there was a fucking octopus picking shit up and like taking caps off of pens because they just could do that with their tentacles, just fucking writhing around on my desk. That would be fucking cool, but not incredibly practical. I'd love to have octopuses in my videos, but there's a lot more like logistical issues with that, and then everything would get soaked and it would stink probably. I mean, monkeys probably smell as well, but it's a different kind of smell, isn't it? That like seafood fish smell is a whole different smell from like monkey smell, I assume. I don't smell monkeys too often. Cows, I really like cows, and like people do make videos of like farmers. There are, you know, farmers on, I don't know, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, and they go, hey look, here's an emu, here's a cow, here's a thing, which is cool. It is cool that people work with those kinds of animals and therefore can have them in their videos. But monkeys, you can't just like, to have a cow in a video, you have to like go to where a cow is. It would be very difficult to have a cow brought to you. Squids and octopuses, difficult. There's a lot more shit to think about if you're maybe going to have octopus. And even then, octopuses is one thing because they can sort of do their thing on land as well as in the water. Squids, maybe not so much. But like monkeys could be this big. They could be tiny little things. You get 100 of them in even in my humble home. I'm barely even looking at this. I did plan to like look through this and go, oh, look at the art. But now I'm just stuck talking about how much I want monkeys in videos. Why aren't people putting monkeys in their videos? Jesus Christ. Millions of views guaranteed if you just have monkeys in your videos. Guaranteed. And as I feel so like I don't care about being big and famous and whatever. It would be nice. There would be, you know, benefits to it, of course. but it's not my ultimate goal. However, I really want to make videos with monkeys and chimpanzees. But I'm not... Like, I feel like if I was popular enough, I could say I would like to help promote your monkey charity. So come on and we'll get hundreds of thousands of views and more people will donate to your charity. That could be a thing. Or if I'm making enough money, regardless of view counts, I could give a donation and then have monkeys appear in the videos. I'm just not in any way in a position where I'm able to make that happen. I need to make friends with people who work with monkeys. I need to make friends with zoo employees. Get some fucking monkeys in my videos, man. It's good to have goals, though, isn't it? It's good to have something to work towards. But there you go. There's, right, patreon.com/ewan. Subscribe, because, yeah, it would help me make a living as an artist, and I can make comics if I can afford to sit and draw them, yada, yada, yada. But ultimately, if you want to see videos with monkeys in them, and we're not talking CGI shit like Planet of the Apes. We're not talking bad prosthetics and shitty masks like the old Planet of the Apes. We're talking actual live chimpanzees and monkeys and things. That's what we want. We want that. So subscribe to my Patreon so I can someday afford monkeys. Yeah? Yeah. See, because I drew this the other day, because this is part of the papers that Lobster Robin gave to me with a bunch of drawings on. He gave them to me with like an eye towards the possibility of me adding to or editing them in like a collaborative sort of fashion. And I've had them sat around for, I don't know, at least a couple of years now, I think. And just, I haven't quite known what to do. Like, there's a bunch of stuff I could do with them, but then I only recently noticed that there was a loose pencil sketch here in this shape with no like detail or anything, just really faint loose pencil sketch. And this was like the shape of the head of it, which looked ape-like. There's this guy here, so it's fair to say it's probably apish. And so I drew monkey. Ape, monkey, ape. Oh, I really like it. I think it's really, really cool. Added the penis, of course. You've got to throw a peen in there. And a spliff. Got to give it a spliff. Nothing cooler than a monkey smoking a spliff. When you do graffiti, or what we call spray can art workshops with youths, we're teaching kids how to paint graffiti properly. At youth centres, skate parks, or whatever, every time, if you paint any character, any person, any animal, you'll get the little kids going, "Oh, give it a spliff! Put a spliff in its mouth, it'll be fucking cool, yeah, give it a fucking spliff, make it smoking a fucking spliff." And so you have to go, fine, and you put a spliff in there, because that's what the nippers want. So you've got to give them what they want now and then, not all the time. Don't overindulge them. But it, like I was saying before, with like, you like stuff when you're young, and then you sort of, get to a point where you start to dislike that stuff, and you rebel against the youth and go, ugh, I had such poor taste when I was young. What did I know? Ugh. But then you loop back around and go, actually, it wasn't that bad, and I quite enjoy it. And it's the same with that. Spliff, yeah, brilliant. And then you start to hate them. And then whenever someone says, or even the idea of drawing a character smoking, you're like, no, I'm too mature for that. I've moved past that. But then you get to a point where you're like, no, actually, it's pretty funny. Have a monkey smoking a cigarette. Fucking, of course. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to smoke now. Let's all smoke some more. I still have a couple of cigarettes, actually. I could chain smoke those away. Anyway, I was drawing this, thinking about monkeys, and that's where the whole monkey thing came from. I figured I'd draw some monkeys and talk about monkeys, and then I was thinking about monkeys and talking about monkeys and drawing monkeys, and I was thinking about the different kinds of monkeys, and then I was thinking about which are my favourite kinds of monkeys. And here's more monkeys. I drew some practice monkeys. I was talking about orangutans and a whole bunch of shit. Monkeys all over the fucking place. Monkeys, bloody monkeys. Can't get enough bloody fucking monkeys. This guy. Oh no, I don't know what to draw now. Just more monkeys, I guess. Just forever monkeys. Just draw monkeys forever and ever. But I'll go through my list of monkeys. I made an image. I'll put it up here probably, so you can see it, and then I'll just quickly. I don't want to spend too long on it because again, it'll probably feel forced, and I won't like it. But I mean, maybe you could just look at it and go, oh, I get it. Numbers 1 to 12. Of course, I would have started when I was talking about it in the original recording. I started at 12 and then I worked my way. I didn't number them because I didn't know exactly how many I had, but I was sort of doing it off the top of my head. And this isn't right. So all the monkeys, I love all of them, all the monkeys, all the apes. So there's, in terms of my favourite, it's not like I like this one way more than I like that one. It's just like if I have to put them in some kind of top to bottom order, because I would just mash them all in together and say I love them all. But the proboscis monkey, more like preposterous monkey with its fucking nose. That's why it's at number 12, because it's stupid. It's got a big stupid fucking nose. What's it doing with that big stupid fucking nose? What does it need all that for? It's fucking silly. Proboscis monkey. Idiot. That's why. See, because it's still a monkey. I still love it for being a monkey. But, you know, fucking. It's got a big silly nose. So it gets on the bottom of the list, which is really harsh. I like big noses. I like big noses on women. I like drawing them. I like putting my fingers in them. I've done that. That's like a test if I'm in a relationship, to see if the relationship's going to last. Stick your finger in their nose, and if they're cool with it, if they're like, haha, that's funny, then you're probably okay. But then if they're like, get the fuck out of my nose, then things might not be okay. Needless to say, none of those relationships lasted. But I think the monkey looks silly with a big nose, so it gets put at the bottom of the list. Fucking big-nosed cunt monkey. Howler monkey is next, because again, cool, it's a monkey, but shut up. I don't need you fucking screaming and yelling all the time. Howler monkey. More like shut up monkey. Gorilla is next because they're like the jocks of the ape world. And jocks, you know, they're the cool kids and they can all fuck off. Just big dumb galoots. And that's why they're low on the list. Because they're just big dumb dummies. And there's really no criteria, really, for me putting these in whatever order they're in. It's just almost random. Like, I guess Gorilla's there because whatever. I mean, gorillas can be really intelligent, but I don't give a shit about gorillas. Now, if I could have gorillas in my video, that would be something. Just have an entire fucking gorilla just sat next to me at my desk while I'm trying to draw. And just picking shit up and just being like... starts fucking pulling at my shirt and just eat me. in a bad way, not in a good sexual way. Bonobos are next because they're like chimpanzees, but they're slightly more like personish. They've got longer limbs. They're like taller and darker and a bit scarier than chimpanzees, and so that's why they go a bit lower on the list, because chimpanzees are great. Bonobos are scary. So they go lower. Although bonobos do get a point in their favour for being the funnest to type on a keyboard, because of where the letters are. You just, with your thumb and little finger, just B-O-N-O-B-O. Is that right? B-O-N-O-B-O. Bonobo. Like that. That's how you type bonobo on a keyboard. So, point in its favour, but not good enough to get it higher up on the list. The next one is a joint one of tamarins and marmosets. Both adorable, super, super cute little monkeys. New World monkeys, I think they call them. Cute little squirrel-sized little squirrel monkeys. But that's just about it. They're all right, but they're cute. And this isn't a list of how, cuteness. This isn't a cutenessometer of the cutest monkeys. There's golden tamarins as well, I think. Maybe I don't have golden tamarin on this list, because I think that would be higher up. Golden tamarin specific. I think they're called golden. They're like orange, yellowish, golden, I guess. They don't have the mustache. There's tamarins which have like the Chinese kung fu master Fu Manchu mustache. But I don't think golden tamarins have that. But yeah, tamarins and marmosets are fairly similar. Kind of but meh. Meh. And so they go there. Chimpanzee is next. Now, so this is about the middle of the list. There's the two sort of in the middle. Chimpanzee is here because chimpanzee is just ape. Like, just if you picture ape, it's chimpanzee. It just is like the standard form of ape. And they're adorable. They look cute in dungarees. They can be exploited to sell tea or whatever. I believe in Planet of the Apes, Caesar, he's a chimpanzee, isn't he? But that's it. They're just basic, vanilla, standard ape, and so they go in the middle of the list. Not horrendous, not great. They are what they are, and they're apes. So that's where they go in the list. Macaque is next, which is exactly the same, but for monkeys. Which I expressed previously, because that's when you think monkey, you think that, which is exactly like the Beanie Baby Bongo the Monkey, which I loved. A little monkey Beanie Baby I had when I was a kid. But it's just monkey. I love them. I have no ill will towards them. I think they're fantastic. And if I could have a macaque or a chimpanzee in a video, I would be over the cunting moon. But they're just monkey. It just is monkey, and that's that. Orangutans are next. I used to think they were called orangutans, but I used to think yin yang was yin yang, which is not, because I was stupid. I couldn't pronounce yellow when I was a kid. I pronounced it lello. My dad would go say yell, and I'd say yell, and he'd say oh, and I'd say oh, and he'd go yellow, and then I'd go lello, because I was stupid. Was, arguably, I still am. They're very wise, they're very intelligent. I think orangutans are one of the best in terms of tool usage, which I guess is how they sort of measure intelligence in apes and those types of creatures and things. I think orangutans are really good for like tool usage, but also teaching each other and learning from each other in terms of using tools and stuff, which is cool. but and you know, I like their big faces. I think they look better with the big cheek flaps that they have. They look better like that than the proboscis monkey looks with its big nose. And I like that orangutans can just be big fucking lumps of orange hair with a face, and that's an ape, and we love them for it. Also, factoid: the word orangutan has nothing to do with orange. It's got, and that's another thing I wrote down. I wrote this down because I expressed this previously. You'd think it's like orange-utan, whatever, because they're orange. They're giant orange creatures. But no, I don't know what language it is, but like orang means man, and then hutan, and they just take away the H. Hutan means forest, so it's like forest man, which is, you know, they're like men and they live in the forest, so that's it's cool. But it's nothing to do with the word orange. I always just assumed they were called orangutans because it's like orange utan. I don't know. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. Spider monkey is next. I like spider monkeys because they look cool when they're like climbing and jumping around, and they've got super long tails which they use like an arm. Like a lot of monkeys have tails largely for balance and stuff, because it helps them balance when they're moving around in the trees and things. And they're usually prehensile, maybe not usually, but often prehensile, so they can grab things with them. But largely they're for balance, whereas spider monkeys especially use them as a limb to like hold onto branches and shit. And I love it. I think they're fantastic for that. Gibbons are next. I like the long arms. They got super long arms, and see, because spider monkeys have the tails, gibbons don't. But gibbons, to balance, if you see them walking, they walk with their arms up in the air to help them balance, and they look really funny. So that's why they're high up on the list, is because they look funny when they walk with their arms up in the air, and so they deserve to be high up on the list for that reason. Then right towards the tippy top of the list, baboons. What if a baboon worked in a library? Imagine that. I love how fluffy they are. Like, some of them aren't. There's a few different types, and there's different types. There's different genii. I think I used that word correctly. Of each, there's different kinds of gibbons, different kinds of orangutans, different kinds of whatever. There's different kinds of baboons. You get smaller, less hairy ones or less fluffy ones, but I like the ones that are like big and fluffy, big fluffy baboons. And they look, you know, big and fluffy and cute, but then they open their mouths and they've got enormous fangs, which you know would tear your skin to shreds. And so I love them for that. They're massive, fluffy, fuzzy things that will tear your fucking face off because they're vicious. And they're fun to draw. And I like the word baboon. It's a funny word. Bonobo is also a funny word, especially if you pronounce it bonobo. Baboon. It's just a funny word. It's a funny thing to call people as well. Get off me, you fucking baboon. It's just funny. So baboons, I like baboons. And I like the brown baboons. I like the colourful ones as well, with like the colourful faces and the giant red asses that look like big fucking rosebud prolapsed anuses. But I like the more subtle brown baboons. I've just given up on drawing altogether, I guess. It's monkeys, you get it. Oh, monkey, monkey, monkey. Monkey, monkey, moo. That's a tooth, but it looks like a tongue. Top of the list, my number one monkey is a capuchin. They're the fucking best. See, if I had my choice, if I could phone up like a monkey sanctuary and they said, we've got all these monkeys, you can pick like one that we can bring to your studio to go in a video, which would you like? Capuchin would be the one I choose, because they're the ones, they are not necessarily the smartest of all the monkeys, but they are amongst the smartest of the monkeys, because they learn very well, which is why they're always in films and television. because they're very smart and they can be trained to like perform acts. They can be trained to perform tasks around the house. They would theoretically make good butlers, and I think in certain places they are used like that, which is kind of terrible, really. But they're adorable, tiny little monkeys, and they're cute and they sound cute and they look cool and they're clever and they can do shit. Just little genius things, and they look like little monks, which I think is why they got their name, because I don't know who it was. Someone went to an island and there was loads of... Oh no, there was a bunch of monks they wore robes and they had... Because Capuchins have like the patch on the top of their head, like the coloured spot on top of their head, and then they look like monks. So a bunch of people went to an island and saw the monkeys and said, haha, they look like these monks. And I think the monks were called Capuchins or something. And so the monkeys got called Capuchins after the monk that they resembled slightly because of the brown robes and the patch on their head. Probably smarter than monks, to be fair. Because monks are stupid enough to believe in God like a bunch of idiots, whereas Capuchins are just cute little monkeys doing cute little monkey things, monkey business. Anyway, that was the whole thing. If I've got it right, this episode was 299, which makes next episode the 300th episode. Can you believe I've been doing this shit for 300 episodes? So that will be a banger, I'm sure. If you have sat through this one, thank you. It's been a bit of a rough patch. So if you have sort of sat around with this, then I appreciate it. It means a lot. Anyway, monkeys forever.